Hi, this is Belinda Calibriali and this is Talking High Performance with Belle. So I'm making this podcast for people who want to live their best life, people who know that there's more in them, but they just don't know how to get it. So there's a gap, something's missing, I'm making it for them. Hi and welcome to another episode of Talking High Performance with Belle. And as we wrap up Recharge Month, I couldn't think of a better way to conclude than by talking about finding flow through the recharge of our skills. And this month, we've looked at a few different strategies to help us recharge in different areas of our lives. And today, I wanted to wrap that up and tie that all together by focusing in on our skills and finding that real sweet spot where our abilities and our passions align and they allow us to move forward with more ease. And when we talk about high performance living, it's all about how do we gain that edge or that advantage that accelerates our progress and separates us from the rest of the population, so the other 85% of the population. And one of the big things we can do is recharge our current skills. And when we do this, we open ourselves up to new possibilities and new opportunities for growth. And I want to talk firstly about working in flow. And when we work in flow, it's that ability where time seems to disappear, and you're completely absorbed in what you're doing. And it's often in these moments that we can tap into our greatest strengths and produce quite often our best work. And today I want to talk about how recharging our skills and gaining that extra edge, gaining that extra 1% can help us to get into that state of flow more often. And it doesn't matter whether you're a professional or whether you're just someone at home who wants to find their flow, even in the day-to-day chores and day-to-day living. This episode is for you and will help you elevate that to the next level. So if you haven't got a cup of coffee, grab yourself one, and I'll talk to you now about how do you uncover some secrets to gaining that competitive edge and that edge that ultimately will set you apart. So in previous episodes, we've spoken about skill development and how it's the catalyst to help us level up and how we need to develop our skills in order to move the needle forward. And if I look at myself, when I went into 2023, I said there are two things that I wanted to do, two things that I wanted to achieve, but I didn't have the skills yet. And they were podcasting, and here I am talking to you, and writing an online course. And for me, it was really important to go, okay, what do I need to do? What are my goals? And then where do I have that gap in my skill set and where do I need to develop? And even now, I'm doing podcasting, but what does 2024 look like? How can I do it better? How can I be sharper? And so how do you get that edge? And it's all about how do you make life more fulfilling when you're developing your skills, because you want to make it something that is really enjoyable and something that makes you feel more confident. And when we talk about our jobs, the development of our skills makes us more versatile. It allows us to be more knowledgeable and more successful, sure. But when we talk about it on a personal level, our skills make us really fulfilled. And if we can develop skills that we're passionate about, it really builds that confidence that we all aspire to want, and it builds our courage. And so the more skills that we can develop and the more that we can do it in a way that lights us up and that we enjoy is really, really important. And when I talk with my clients, it's often for them that really deep satisfaction of knowing, once you've developed a couple of skills and you've got some runs on the board, you start to have that belief that you're really capable, whether it's capable in conversations, whether it's capable in your ability to figure it out because you've done it before, or whether it's your ability just to be capable to just do life better and to, that when you put in more effort, results happen and things happen, and it's really, really rewarding for them. So if we take that one step further, then I want to chat to you about why the recharging of your skills is just as important as gaining a skill in the first place, and some benefits of why that's really important when it comes to flow. And what I'm talking about here is up-leveling. So it's great to develop a skill, but how do we make it better than what it was last year, than what it was the year before? And one of the reasons is continuing to develop skills helps us to stay relevant. Things evolve over time. Nothing stays the same. And so by recharging our skills, we can become more competitive in our field, or we can really refine our craft. Being able to up-level our skills also allows us to adapt to change. So the world is constantly changing and there's always new challenges and new opportunities arising around us if we actually look for them. And so being able to up-level our skills, we just open ourselves up to more opportunities that will come our way. And so being able to adapt to change and look at change as something that's really important in helping us to reach that next level is really important. I've spoken about confidence as well. So being confident in our ability, whether it's our ability to figure it out, whether it's our ability to have difficult conversations, whether it's our ability to learn from prior mistakes, being confident is really important in helping us to up-level. And the more confident we are, the easier it is to find our flow in what we're doing, and the easier it is to take on challenges around us. When, people are saying no, you're more likely to be the person that says, yes, let me tackle this because I believe in my ability to work it out. Up-leveling of our skills also helps us to enhance our performance. So recharging our skills can often lead us to improve performance in our current role. And when we're working on developing and growing and refining our skills, we can become more efficient and we can become more productive. And when you do this, you're better able to maintain your energy as you know how to deal with things as they arise and you have that confidence to do so. So how do you then take a skill that you already have, one that you've already developed, and how do you take that to the next level? So how do you up-level in that area? And this is where it all comes down to flow. It's that immersion of being in that activity that brings you joy, where you feel motivated, where you feel like you're energized, and where you feel like you're willing to take on the challenges ahead as it energizes you. And flow is what we want to do. It's when, the skills that we have match the effort that we're putting in, so it feels effortless. And that's sort of the state that we're looking for. Sometimes, we can notice that we push too hard. Sometimes we don't push hard enough. So it's all about finding, like a dance, finding that flow where things just feel effortless and you're moving along. And how do you do this? And the first thing you need is a plan that you can follow through, and a plan that allows you to up-level, which might be staged. So this month I'm going to focus on up-leveling this particular thing. Next month I'm going to focus on up-leveling the next one. And it's developing those skills and those strategies and rewarding yourself for the wins along the way. So you don't want it to become a point where the goal is too big or the skill is unattainable. You want to create those baby steps that will get you to the point of flow. And it's all about looking at what you're learning and going, how can I up my game here? How can I do better in this particular area than what I did last month? And how do you set some goals, as I've mentioned, around that? And it's also, how do you push yourself that little bit harder, but not to the point of burnout or not to the point of being disengaged or disinterested because it just all of a sudden seems too hard now. So it's something that you want to push yourself towards, but you don't want it to be overwhelming. And a good way, as I mentioned, to do this is to create a plan. So stack the skills on top of each other, one on top of the other. And if you compare it to a baby beginning to walk, it doesn't just happen because that's too hard. You need to build the skills. So the baby starts to crawl, most babies anyway, not all, and then they start to, walk, and then they fall and they take their first steps. And developing skills is all about doing that. So before we want to run, we need to learn, okay, what do we want to do? How do we crawl? What does crawling look like? What does the next stage look like, and so forth. So an example for this was when I began my coaching business. So there were so many things to focus on. And you look on Facebook and you see everybody's recommending, different things to do. What's the best next step? And sometimes it's really easy to get confused. People had courses, people had podcasts. There are brochures you need to create. There are programs, there are workshops, there are public speaking things you can do. And the list just goes on and on and on. And it's like this for most industries. And if I looked at the skills I needed to develop in order to do all of those, I would have driven myself insane. And I did in the beginning. But instead, I went, okay, in the beginning, this is the first thing I need to focus on. I need a website. Then I need one program. Then I need to write content. Then I need to set up the back end with payments, build an email list. And it's all about creating those baby steps that now when I look back, and creating those foundations that are really solid. So when you look back, you can go, thank goodness I did it the right way and slowly. and thoroughly and develop those skills, because now when you add something on, it feels effortless and you continue to up level. And then now I look at it and go, okay, what are my goals, for the next 6-12 months? Who do I need to bring in? What do I need to develop? And it becomes easier and systemized. And it's not about following what everybody else is doing. I think, quite often people go, oh, this is the way, come and follow my way because it's the right way. Personally, I think that's crap. I think, you just need to do something that feels authentic to you and, set your own trend. Yes, sure, learn from people that have done it and done it well, absolutely, but you don't need to follow what everybody else is doing. It's all about how do you do it in a way that feels good to you, because ultimately when you're in flow, things will naturally work out and you're giving yourself, that best opportunity. So as we come to the end of today's episode and wrap up Recharge Month, I want to bring it back to what I spoke about at the beginning of the month on mindfulness. And this is our ability to recharge, our ability to regroup, to build our skills and to find our flow. And this all starts with our ability to be present in the current moment. So I thought a great way to end today is to go back to those 5 main points on how to do this again. The first one is all about setting your daily intention. What skill do you need to work on? What skill do you need to recharge, or what skill do you need to up level? Number 2 is plan out your mornings. So tweak your mornings to find what works well for you. I spoke about a book that I read, The Miracle Morning, and I based my mornings around that and tweaked it to what works well for me. But I encourage you, what works well for you? Have a think about your mornings, have a play around with different times and, even different foods that you're eating, and see what makes you feel more energized and what allows you to get into that state of flow more easily. Point number 3 is to visualize your larger goals and then work on recharging them and retweaking them. Your goals a year ago may not be the same as your goals today. So is your visualization the same? How can you make it even sharper, and how do you tweak that? And the example that I gave you with my business is a good one. Like a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, my goals look very different. So it's about constantly tweaking, going, okay, how can I up level this part of my life? Point number 4 is about listening to your body. So it's really hard to rebuild if you don't rest, and you can't reach that next level if you're not looking after yourself and your body. So work out, what do you need? Is it self-care? Is it acupuncture? Is it, what is it that you need to look after yourself that's going to give you that energy to push forward with greater success? And the last one is to end your day on a positive note. So what went well? How did the development of that skill go? And how do you bring more of that into your life moving forward? So, think about your day. What actually did you do in that day? Do you feel like it moved you forward? Yes, great. Do you feel like maybe, it hindered your progress? Is there something that you need to tweak? And that's my 5 points on just being really mindful of when it comes to developing your skills, how can you improve and how can you tweak that to help you reach that next level? So there you have it, why finding flow through recharging our skill set is so important, and how also it can dramatically change how we think and how we feel. So if you haven't already, head to my website, grab yourself a complimentary ebook, and I look forward to chatting to you again next week where we start a new month and therefore a new topic, which is all around building momentum to ensure you hit the ground running in 2024. So until then, live a successful, purposeful and fully charged life. Your coach, Belle.